My day, whether I'm actually in competition season or off season, is predominantly pretty much the same. I just eat more or less of. I only whole foods, so I eat a plant-based diet, and very rarely will I have much stuff that's refined or processed.
For breakfast, I had a green smoothie, so I did mango, banana, spinach, kale, spirulina, hemp seeds, and I think I used almond milk.
For lunch, I'll probably have something a bit more substantial. Again, I usually base the largest part of my meal on something carb heavy, so whether that is some quinoa or some pasta or a sweet potato or something like that. I might have, say, a jacket sweet potato with some vegan cheese.
At night, I usually love to have some edamame because edamame has a complete amino acid profile, and it's a high source of phytonutrients and protein. I like to also have basically some kind of a tempeh or tofu. I love tofu and tempeh, so I'll definitely incorporate that with some sautéed vegetables, medley of vegetables, and sweet potato, and oftentimes I eat some quinoa and brown rice.
I really like tofu or tempeh. I eat a ton of soy. For people who are wondering, like, is soy okay? I've been eating it every day for at least the last 4 years, and I feel amazing. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a healthy, sustainable choice.
So usually what I eat in a day, I have certain staples for different meals. So for my breakfast, I always have some oats with berries, or I'll have a protein smoothie, like a green protein smoothie with spinach, banana, some PB2 powder, and then I'll put some oats on that too.
I also recommend people start out with like a big romaine salad before every meal because it helps you get full, and then it just adds some more nutrition to your meals.
Actually, when I go out sometimes with people, they're like, seriously, like, you eat more than most people? And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's kind of terrifying, people don't realize, but when you're eating the right foods, you can eat a lot. So I am never hungry. I don't deprive myself of anything. I just really try to stick to real foods and as much unprocessed stuff as I can, and I just eat as much as I want.
A typical day for me usually starts with, for breakfast, I'll have oatmeal, usually a half a cup of oatmeal. Sometimes with berries or a half of a banana. I like to add cinnamon powder. I use stevia to sweeten my oatmeal. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of flax seeds. So that's usually what I have for breakfast on a daily basis. Then I will usually have a snack, maybe a piece of fruit, an apple, or another half of a banana. For lunch, I'll usually have maybe some rice and some beans or lentils with some veggies. I like to have broccoli, cauliflower, kale. Then later on, I'll have another snack, maybe some rice cakes with some peanut powder. And for dinner, I'll usually have potatoes. I love potatoes, sweet potatoes or red potatoes with some veggies as well. And I also like to include tofu for dinner, and that's usually what I have on a regular basis.
For lunch, I like to have kind of like a bowl, like maybe quinoa or rice and beans and lots of vegetables. And then for dinner, I don't know, anything really, like pesto pasta or soup, I don't know. You could eat so much as a vegan. Like, people think it's so restrictive and you only eat lettuce. Oh God, that's one of the misconceptions out there. But you could basically make anything that's not vegan and make it vegan.
I'm a foodie, okay? So I eat tons of food. I mean, if you try to portion control me, you're not gonna be my friend. You know what I mean? I want to eat. I want to eat tons of food. So I would like I look at these salad bowls, these non-vegans, like with little lettuce in there, and I'm like, what the heck is that? I take a huge bowl and I have colors of the rainbow all over. I have like at least 10 colors on my salad, right? I mean, it's just like amazing. People look at me and they're like, how do you eat so much? But that's the thing. I don't want to be hungry. I don't want to walk around starving. So I want to eat a lot. So I put tons of different colored beans in my, in my salad, tons of different stuff. I mean, different colors, right? And so one of the advantages is you can eat more food, right? More volume, because it's so full of fiber it's actually like, you know, it has negative calories because your body has to work so hard to break down that fiber food that it's just basically almost your metabolism has to spend, it's expensive on your metabolism. Your body has to spend so much energy to break it down that you end up like losing weight eating more. So my thing is, a lot of the diets tell you eat less, exercise more. I say the opposite. You know, eat more good food and exercise less.
So one of the most interesting and ironic things I probably hear from clients, well, a lot of people assume if they go vegan, they're going to be starving all the time and they're going to be so malnourished. And often my clients, they receive these meal plans from me where they've said, I want to lose weight. And their first response is, oh my goodness, there's so much food on here. And I'm a huge advocate of eating small meals 5 to 6 times a day. I think that it's important if you are an active person, keep your metabolism revved up all day long. So I'm always eating every 2 to 3 hours.
In terms of what food actually, I believe, keeps you lean, is food that's not just high in protein, but high in fiber as well. So that's why I very much stick to like rice and oats and bananas, because the fiber aspect of them just keeps everything moving in your body. I'm never bloated.
For breakfast, I always have oatmeal and a really natural plant milk with not many stuff added, and some blueberries and dates, and a little bit of protein powder. For lunch, I do beans and rice with nutritional yeast and a vitamin C source, since beans have iron and you want to have vitamin C for your body to absorb the iron even more. And then for dinner, I usually have tofu, lentils, spinach, a little bit of rice, sauerkraut for digestion, just lots of protein. And then for snacks throughout the day, I do rice cakes with PB2, which is powdered peanut butter with protein and low fat, and some smoothie with a banana, like carbs, and I'll have it after my workout, because after your workouts, you want to make sure that you're replenishing your body with protein and also carbohydrates.
First of all, I recommend eating about 5 to 6 smaller meals. So I don't necessarily have like a big breakfast, a big lunch, and a big dinner. Instead, I kind of break that all up throughout the day. But also, I think another key tip is to drink a lot of water. A lot of times when we're feeling dehydrated, we're noticing that as hunger when we're really not as hungry as we think we are. So make sure you're getting enough water. And then just go back to the basics when it comes to snacks. I think things like a handful of almonds or some fresh fruit, some berries, hummus and vegetables, things like that, I think are the best snacks, because we're getting nutrition out of them and we're going to feel a lot fuller.
I keep it super simple. I stick to the foods that I like. I am a creature of habit. So every morning I have a smoothie. I put a lot of fruit in there, a lot of leafy greens like spinach or baby kale. I put a scoop of plant-based protein, and then I'll add maybe some healthy fats like from flax or chia, some nut butters possibly, and whatever else I'm kind of feeling that day if I want to add some other superfoods. So that's usually my first meal, and I'll often have another smoothie post-workout just because it's super quick and easy. My other meals are usually made up of either sweet potatoes or rice. I usually pick one of the two. And then I have tempeh, because personally I love tempeh, so I can eat it all day. So I'll have tempeh with either rice or sweet potato, and then a ton of veggies. And then if I get hungry in between meals and I want a snack, I'll have an apple or a banana or just like a piece of fruit. So I keep it pretty simple. Of course, on special occasions or when I go out to eat, I love getting veggie burgers and other type of like specialty dishes. On a daily basis, it's super simple. I have my smoothies. Sometimes I'll have protein mixed with oatmeal and fruit, and then I have my tempeh, my potatoes or rice and veggies.
Before I went vegan, I also thought that carbs were bad. I would eat high protein, low carb the whole time. So it was a little scary to have to eat so many carbs. But then, you realize, like I said, I lost some weight and it stayed the same for a while. So you don't have to be scared of carbs, it's okay. Eat as many. I eat carbs every single meal, like a whole bunch of them too. So proof that you don't get fat.
I try to eat a salad for lunch, either a big salad with a lot of greens and veggies in there. I might throw in some sweet potatoes and lentils, for protein. and also to, again, try to eat the rainbow. Sometimes I'll blend a raw vegan dressing in my Vitamix and pour that on top, or I'll use something as simple as apple cider vinegar.
And then for lunch, I like to do Buddha bowls. So I kind of build these bowls where they have like some lettuce, rice, beans. I make them really colorful, so whenever I share them, I tell people eat the rainbow because every single color represents a different nutrients and vitamins. And of course, I need my protein, so I'll add either some tofu, tempeh, some homemade seitan, or some edamame beans.
I usually try to have fruit first thing in the morning. I really like pomegranates, so I try and do pomegranates, or I'll do cut up apple with some peanut butter. Oatmeal is also a big go-to for me because I can always mix all sorts of stuff into my oatmeal, and I use just a quick like 1 minute organic oatmeal that has nothing in it but oats, and it's super fast, and I throw in my cinnamon and nuts and chia seeds and protein powder if I'm working out, or whatever else I want in there. That's always a really good one. And then for lunch, I switch it up. I do pastas a lot in the middle of the day, especially if I have a busy day, I need energy. I'll do a ton of pasta. I'll throw in some vegetables there. I really love pizza. I do a lot of pizza. And then for dinners, I usually try to do roasted vegetables and rice, or stir fries. Soups, I have a slow cooker, so I love to make, vegetable and grain soups in that as well. And I snack all day long. I always will snack on, carrots. I have some vegan cookies. It's okay to do a cookie when it's vegan. It's not as bad. When it's made from plants, it's really not as bad. But I do snack kind of all day long. Nuts, random avocado with hot sauce. But it's always kind of different. I just kind of eat whatever I want, as long as you're sticking to, whole foods that are plant and fruit and not a lot of processed foods, and no meat and dairy, obviously, it's hard to go wrong.
I like to eat tons of raw vegetables at lunch, and sometimes I put different colored beans on there, which is not raw but still very good for you. So I try to have chickpeas, kidney beans, and all kinds of stuff like that. Right before my workouts, I'd have basically I try to have some arugula or some beets, red beets, because that's like the best way to get your nitric oxide levels high, increase oxygenation in your muscles. That's such a good pre-workout.
Every morning I have porridge, or oats, whatever way you want to call it. Oats mixed with cacao powder, chia seeds, cacao nibs, peanut butter, syrup, almond milk. That's kind of a standard breakfast for me, and there's no any sort of protein foods, if you like, in that, and that comes to about 25 grams of protein on its own. Lunch wise, I do actually like to have a smoothie for lunch because it's normally my post-workout meal. So I'll have 2 or 3 bananas, almond milk, a vegan protein powder, maybe some green powder, something like that in there. Again, maybe chia seeds, hemp seeds, something like that. I'm not that much of a snacker. I very much like just 3 standard meals a day. So I'll just kind of leave snacks out because I really am not the best on advising them. Dinner wise, right now I'm really into just brown rice, tofu, vegetables, but making them differently, if that makes sense. So different sauces, either making it into a curry or a stew, or even like a soup or something like that as well. So it is very just standard food, but it's just what works for me, and I feel like being consistent with that as well as your training is kind of how you get to where you want to be.
Sometimes I have a smoothie mid-morning or between lunch and dinner, but small amount. I used to have these massive smoothies, and now I'm okay, I've got to watch, how many calories I'm consuming. So I make it with coconut water instead of almond milk. And I tend to put, a couple pieces of fruit and some good amount of greens. And with every meal, I'll tend to add a handful of greens, whether that's arugula or chard, or I'll steam some broccoli.
Well, I follow a whole food plant-based diet, and my macro percentages are generally high carbohydrates, moderate protein, and quite low fat. I also do intermittent fasting, so I don't eat until around about lunchtime each day. And I'll usually break my fast with some oats with berries.
Basically what my day would involve is usually oats and protein for breakfast. Mid-morning would be rice cakes. Lunch, tofu and a salad. Afternoon tea would probably be another protein shake and some rice cakes. And then dinner would be sauteed vegetables, tofu, or along the lines tempeh.
For me personally, I like to follow, I know this is the same for quite a few people that I've spoken to, a 60-20-20 split. So that's kind of 60% carbohydrates, 20% fat and 20% protein.
For dinner, I might have like spicy black beans in a wrap with some vegan cheese, or I might have a big curry or a stew, or I might just veganize any normal meal, like any meat meal, any standard meat and animal product meal. I just veganize it. So just make a vegan lasagna or vegan pasta bake or vegan whatever I fancy.
My everyday go-to is papaya, and people find that strange, but after my last comp at the Arnold Classics in Europe, in Spain, that was the first thing I wanted, and so I normally just get a papaya, break it in half, I take the seeds out and I put berries or banana in it.
So after working out, I usually like to eat like some kind of bowl. So I usually do like rice or quinoa, beans, and just lots of vegetables, and usually it's pretty satisfying. Or if I'm feeling for something a little bit more sweet, I do like a protein shake and put some fruit in it, hemp seeds, and some vegan smart protein.
For breakfast, what I normally eat is like avocado toast with hummus and like some fresh basil and hemp seeds. And then for lunch and dinner, I mean, it could be anything from pasta to soup to salads to sandwiches.
Right, so I think that a lot of people are realizing that you can build muscle and lose body fat on a plant-based diet. Specifically though, while eating carbohydrates.
My staples are anything from any fruits and vegetables, generally in season, lots of leafy greens, green veggies. My staple proteins are legumes, so they may be chickpeas, beans, edamame. I eat some tofu. I love tempeh. I love bean tempeh. I have a little bit of seitan, so it's semi-processed. And I love my carbs, so all fruits, bananas, potatoes, organic grains I predominantly eat.
Sometimes I'll have chips. If I'm feeling a bit lazy for dinner, I'll just cut up some potatoes, put them on a tray, just stick them in the oven and put some herbs and spices on them. And I'll tell you, that is one of my favorite meals, and it doesn't take much effort, and it's just potatoes that are baked, and it tastes so amazing.